In a galaxy ruled by an ancient council, humanity's fate hangs in the balance, exiled behind an unbreakable cosmic wall. But what if the prisoners defied their captors, turning isolation into rebellion? From a single spark on Terra Nova, a fire ignites that could reshape the stars. Dive into this epic tale of ingenuity and defiance right on. Then, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more captivating videos and to inspire even more amazing content. The Galactic Council was silent, a vast room filled with representatives from dozens of species, all casting their thoughts into the ether as they prepared to seal humanity's fate. The council chamber, an imposing structure of floating stone and holographic displays, hung with the quiet energy of 1,000 years of galactic history. Above, shimmering projections showed the far reaches of the known universe, systems, planets, stars. And one planet stood out, Terra Nova, suspended in the cold, unfeeling darkness. The decision made today would change everything for this young, reckless species. Prime Overseer Thalvorn stood at the center, the leader of the stellar conclave. His voice rang through the chamber, a calm yet authoritative tone. Humanity, once a promising species, now stands as a dangerous anomaly. Their rapid technological advancements, rocket propulsion engines reaching speeds up to 0.8 C, have exceeded our estimates. Their impulse for expansion, unchecked by galactic regulation, has triggered instability in the outer rim. We must act before their reach becomes a threat we cannot contain. In the silence that followed, Delegate Jorithus, an ancient and wise member of the conclave, leaned forward. We cannot risk the fate of the galaxy on the shoulders of a single species. Their unpredictability is our greatest fear. We must isolate them, cut them off from the rest of us. The Ecliptic Shroud will be our answer. The Ecliptic Shroud, a nearly impenetrable barrier created by the combined forces of conclave technology, was humanity's doom? For generations, this barrier had kept the most dangerous and uncontrollable species isolated from the galactic community. The shroud was constructed from subatomic manipulations that could bend space itself, expanding across 50 light-years of galactic real estate, effectively imprisoning Terra Nova behind a wall of cosmic energy. Admiral Kalia Varanth, the officer tasked with overseeing the exile, stepped forward. Her mind, trained for decades in tactics, strategy, and the nature of intergalactic diplomacy, gave no hint of hesitation as she accepted the command. Under the will of the conclave, she said, her eyes cold, I will activate the shroud. Terra Nova will be sealed. With a single motion, she initiated the sequence. Data streamed across the room, intergalactic signals from Terra Nova breaking into chaotic static. The Ecliptic Shroud flickered to life, and the once vibrant world was swallowed by the impenetrable wall. Humanity will be forgotten, Thalvorn declared, his gaze firm. Their recklessness will no longer trouble us. Yet, in the stillness of the council room, something unexpected began to stir. An ember of defiance was quietly kindling in the heart of Terra Nova. Humanity was not so easily forgotten. The silence of Terra Nova's exile did not last long. In the wake of the Ecliptic Shroud's activation, humans were left in the dark, but not for long. Fleetmaster Zara Vox, a military leader shaped by years of rebellion, stood before a makeshift communication hub, her fingers flying across holographic interfaces. The room, filled with the hum of archaic machinery and newly scavenged alien tech, was a testament to humanity's relentless ingenuity. It was here, on the edge of isolation, that Terra Nova would make its first statement to the galaxy. We may be exiled, but we are not forgotten, Vox muttered, her voice steady despite the weight of the task at hand. The projectors flickered to life, projecting a holographic image of the planet's surface, now hidden from galactic view by the impenetrable shroud. The message she was about to send would be humanity's defiance, its first spark in what would soon become a galactic fire. The transmission was sent, breaking through the dense veil of static the shroud caused. In the deepest recesses of the galaxy, far beyond the outer rim, A message rang out. To the stellar conclave, we will not be silenced. Terra Nova is not your prisoner. We will outshine your walls. We will rise. This is not the end, but the beginning. Seconds later, the message echoed through every corner of conclave space. The conclave's sensors blinked red. The signal, once thought lost, had found its way to their vast network of communication relays. The humans were defiant. They had hacked conclave technology, drones, satellites, and transmission relays to broadcast their challenge, using a frequency once reserved only for the conclave's most secure channels. The final touch was Vox's choice of music. We Will Rock You, humanity's battle anthem, played loud and clear, reverberating across the cosmos. It was a simple song, yet it carried the weight of 1,000 human voices, declaring they were not afraid, that they had no intention of fading into the darkness. Delegate Mason Holt, upon hearing the broadcast, leaned back in his chair, a rare smile curling on his face. Let them waste their energy. It won't matter. The shroud is unbreakable. But the message was not about breaking the shroud. It was about humanity's refusal to be bound by any force. Terra Nova was alive. The rebellion had begun. The Conclave may have thought humanity's exile would break their spirit, but they underestimated human ingenuity, an underestimate that would soon cost them dearly. Fleetmaster Zara Vox watched as her team of engineers and rogue scientists, working in secret for decades, made their first breakthrough. Terra Nova's people, cut off from the rest of the galaxy, had not only survived, they had thrived, adapting to isolation and turning their exile into an opportunity for innovation. In a hidden facility beneath the planet's surface, the first breakthrough materialized. A team of engineers, working tirelessly around the clock, had developed a device capable of hacking the very drones the Conclave had used to monitor them. Using advanced neural algorithms and reverse-engineered Conclave programming from drone wreckage, the humans had created a virus capable of infiltrating the Conclave's encrypted systems. Their target? The Conclave's surveillance drones, their constant watch over Terra Nova. The first wave of drones, once circling in relentless observation, were now singing a different tune. Human-made rock anthems, distorted and amplified for all to hear. Zara watched the first hack unfold on the command screens, one drone after another dropping its defensive protocols, allowing the Terrans to override their systems. In mere minutes, these drones were transmitting signals, broadcasting human messages back into Conclave space. They hadn't just breached a barrier, they'd stolen the keys to the kingdom. We've got their attention now, Vox said, her voice cold, yet full of satisfaction. Prepare the next phase. It's time to make sure the galaxy hears us. The next phase was equally audacious. Humanity, ever the opportunists, reached out to alien species who shared their disdain for the Conclave's authoritarian rule. The Veilari, an insectoid species with an affinity for high-energy technology, had already begun sending encrypted signals to Terra Nova, offering their assistance. The Zarathi, a technologically advanced race known for their adaptability, also joined forces. These species were willing to trade their knowledge for the promise of a galaxy unshackled by the Conclave's iron grip. In exchange for their cooperation, the Terrans offered their revolutionary ideas, energy shielding techniques that could withstand 50 megatons of force, harnessing quantum entanglement for communication, and, most significantly, the design of a new type of propulsion system. The Veilari contributed their hypervelocity thrusters, while the Zarathi provided their expertise in energy manipulation. The humans, combining all these elements, began constructing their most ambitious project yet. They called it the Starbreaker, a ship unlike any seen before, capable of breaking through the shroud with a force that would make the galaxy tremble. The Starbreaker's core, a hybrid of Veilari shielding and Zarathi energy converters, was designed to release a supernova-like burst capable of collapsing the shroud's field, destroying it in a single, devastating blow. We're not just surviving anymore. Zara Vox murmured as she gazed at the holographic model of the Starbreaker. "We're coming for them." It had been 50 years since the Shroud had isolated Terra Nova. But in those 5 decades, humanity had turned isolation into innovation. Every moment of captivity was a lesson in defiance, and now, at the heart of their hidden facility, the culmination of their struggle, the Starbreaker, was about to take shape. Zara Vox stood in the center of the assembly hall, her gaze fixed on the sleek, multi-layered vessel that loomed before her. The Starbreaker wasn't just a ship, it was a testament to human determination. Crafted from a combination of Valari alloy, capable of withstanding temperatures exceeding 10 OOC and Zarathi power cores. The ship was built to deliver a force beyond anything the Conclave had ever imagined. It was a ship born of necessity, designed to challenge the Ecliptic Shroud itself. The Starbreaker's design was both elegant and brutal. The core, a fusion reactor that could generate 12 gigajoules of energy per second, was wrapped in Valari energy shields that could absorb up to 99.7 photon of incoming force. The exterior, composed of a high-density composite material, was capable of withstanding cosmic radiation and the most powerful weapons the galaxy had to offer. But its true strength lay in its weaponry, a quantum energy destabilizer that could create a shockwave powerful enough to collapse the Shroud's protective field. The calculations were staggering. The weapon would release over 200 terajoules of energy in a single burst. Human engineers had spent years refining the technology. They had hacked Conclave drones, scoured old data banks, and experimented with captured alien tech. The result was a propulsion system that mocked the limitations of traditional hyperspace travel. The Starbreaker would reach 0.99 C in under 3 minutes, cutting through the vast emptiness of space with terrifying speed. It was humanity's response to the Conclave's rule, an answer they had built from the wreckage of their past. "Ready the launch sequence," Zara ordered, her voice steady but filled with purpose. "This is the moment we've been waiting for." The room hummed with the energy of anticipation. As the command was given, the Starbreaker's engines roared to life, a brilliant blue flame bursting from the rear as it powered up. Around the ship, the final stages of preparation unfolded. Energy shields flickered into existence, and the quantum destabilizer's core began to hum with an almost imperceptible V vibration, indicating it was ready for its first test. Zara's fingers hovered above the launch console. On my mark, she pressed the button, and the Starbreaker surged forward with an explosive force, the sheer power of its engines creating shockwaves that rattled the very foundation of the facility. The ship moved toward the Ecliptic Shroud, carrying with it the hopes of humanity's future. The countdown began. The Shroud was about to face its first true challenge, and humanity's long exile was coming to an end. The moment had come. The Starbreaker, humanity's crowning achievement, powered through the vacuum of space, its engines glowing a furious blue, pushing the ship faster than any craft before it. Zara Vox stood at the helm, her eyes fixed on the distant, shimmering expanse of the Ecliptic Shroud, a barrier that had imprisoned Terra Nova for decades. Today, that barrier would fall. Human ingenuity had done the impossible, creating a weapon that could generate 200 terajoules of energy in a single burst. The Shroud had been deemed invulnerable by the Conclave, a cosmic wall built to withstand any force, any attack, but the Conclave had never faced humanity's resolve. Zara's voice was steady but filled with purpose as she spoke to her crew, her words cutting through the intensity of the moment. "Prepare the destabilizer. We're hitting the Shroud at full power." As the Starbreaker neared the edge of the Shroud's field, the ship's core hummed with power, the quantum destabilizer at full charge. This weapon was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Drawing from a combination of alien technologies, the Valari's energy shields, Zarathi's manipulation of matter, and human ingenuity, it had the potential to disrupt space itself. The core of the destabilizer, now fully energized, was capable of destabilizing the fabric of the Shroud's field, creating a localized supernova effect. At 200 terajoules of energy, it would be more than enough to rip through the protective barrier. Zara punched the launch command. Firing in 3, 2, 1. A blinding flash of white-hot light erupted from the Starbreaker's core, sending out shockwaves that rattled the ship's hull. The energy release was so immense, so concentrated, that it briefly bent the fabric of space around it. The shockwave collided with the shroud, and the result was nothing short of catastrophic. For a fraction of a second, time seemed to stop. The shroud rippled, its molecular integrity failing as the destabilizer's energy surged into its core. The Conclave's once impenetrable wall, the barrier that had held Terra Nova captive for 50 years, began to shatter. Energy ripples surged outward, splintering the shroud like glass under the weight of the Starbreaker's might. The shockwave pushed forward with an intensity that would have obliterated anything else in its path. But the shroud crumpled under the sheer force of humanity's weapon. The explosion was visible from the Starbreaker's viewport, a brilliant flash that illuminated the surrounding stars. For the first time in 50 years, Terra Nova was free. Shroud neutralized, Zara whispered, her voice barely audible above the hum of the ship. Humanity is no longer bound. The galaxy had been watching, and now, the true power of humanity had been revealed. The shroud had fallen, and the Conclave would have no choice but to acknowledge the rise of Terra Nova. The shroud was gone. In its place, a vacuum of opportunity opened before humanity, a chance to strike at the heart of the Conclave. Fleetmaster Zara Vox, now leading the largest human fleet ever assembled, stood at the helm of the Nova Spearhead, her flagship, a testament to human perseverance and power. The fleet, a collection of ships bolstered by Velari tech and Zarathi advancements, was ready to make its mark. The Nova Spearhead gleamed with the sleekness of human innovation, built for both speed and power. It boasted new high-density armor plating capable of withstanding 20 megatons of force, and was armed with a payload of hypervelocity railguns capable of launching projectiles at 85 of light speed. Its warp drive was humanity's crowning achievement, a system capable of reaching 0.99 C in under 10 minutes, levying the Conclave's sluggish hyperspace technology in the dust. Zara's voice echoed through the comm system, her command unwavering. Prepare for hyperspace jump. Our target, Conclave's core systems. They will understand that humanity is no longer a mere threat. We are a force that will reshape the galaxy. Her orders rang through the fleet as the ships powered up, their engines humming with energy. The fleet, 150 ships strong, launched into hyperspace, cutting through the stars with terrifying speed. Each ship was a masterpiece of human engineering, powered by the same quantum propulsion system that had delivered the Starbreaker to the Shroud's heart. The ships were armed to the teeth, plasma cannons, anti-fighter laser arrays, and missiles capable of breaching the toughest defenses. As the fleet emerged from hyperspace, the vast expanse of the Conclave's defenses stretched out before them. The Conclave's ships, colossal behemoths built to withstand assaults from the most advanced species, now faced an enemy they couldn't comprehend. The Nova Spearhead tore through the void, its railguns firing in rapid succession, sending plasma-tipped projectiles toward the first wave of Conclave warships. The first impact caused a chain reaction, a violent explosion that ripped apart a Conclave destroyer in seconds. Zara's eyes narrowed as she watched the chaos unfold. The Conclave's fleet, once the epitome of galactic power, was buckling under the intensity of human innovation. They had underestimated humanity, and now the price was being paid. Target their command ships, Zara ordered, her voice sharp. Take out their leadership and force them to surrender, with precision only possible through years of struggle and sacrifice. Humanity's ships tore through the Conclave's formation, picking off flagship after flagship. Each successful strike was a reminder. Humanity was here to stay, and no one could stop them. The Conclave was crumbling under the weight of its own arrogance. Zara Vox had delivered the first blow. The galaxy would never be the same. The Nova Spearhead cut through the heart of Conclave space, levying a trail of devastation in its wake. Zara Vox, standing at the helm of the flagship, could feel the tremors of victory reverberating through her fleet. Yet, despite their incredible success, one question still loomed. How would the Conclave respond? The old galactic power, seemingly invincible, had now been shaken to its core. But it wasn't over. Not yet. The Conclave, reeling from the destruction of its fleet, had one last move to make. An emergency council was convened, a meeting of the most powerful minds in the galaxy. Prime Overseer Thalvorn, now surrounded by his dwindling advisors, gripped the edge of the council table. His voice, though tempered with authority, was tinged with uncertainty. We underestimated them. Humanity's technology, its ingenuity, it's beyond anything we've ever faced. Perhaps, said Delegate Jorthus, his ancient face stern, but we have faced threats before. We must act quickly. Activate the anti-interference protocols. Cut off their communications. Isolate them. This fleet, it is nothing but a well-armed inconvenience. Vorn nodded, his eyes narrowing. Then we'll show them that their defiance is meaningless. Prepare for a counterattack. Meanwhile, the Nova Spearhead and its fleet were making their way toward the Conclave's capital system. Now within range of their main command hub, Zara Vox, unflinching, observed the energy readings from their sensors. The Conclave was preparing something big. A series of pulse waves were being activated across their communications grid, each wave designed to block the frequencies they had been using to hack Conclave systems and transmit their message. Zara's lips curled into a smirk. They thought they could stop humanity with technology. It was laughable. Activate the secondary comms relay, she ordered. We're not going to let them silence us. The humans had long ago anticipated this move. While the Conclave prepared to disrupt their communications, the Terrans had already deployed a new system, an advanced quantum encryption network, capable of bypassing traditional countermeasures. This system was designed to withstand the most sophisticated blocking techniques the Conclave could muster. The quantum system would ensure that no matter how many pulse waves the Conclave threw at them, humanity would stay connected. As the first pulse waves hit, the Nova Spearhead systems flickered briefly, but only briefly. In the blink of an eye, the quantum encryption locked in, rendering the waves ineffective. Zara's comms console flashed to life with fresh intelligence. The Conclave's leadership was vulnerable, an opportunity to strike once more. Target their command ships, Zara said, her voice a calm storm of intent. This instant, with the quantum encryption holding strong, humanity's attack on the Conclave's command center began. The rebellion was far from over, but now, it was more invitable than ever. The Conclave had underestimated humanity's resolve, and they would soon pay the price for their arrogance. The Conclave's command hub was a battlefield of words. Across its multi-tiered chambers, representatives from dozens of species clashed in the wake of humanity's devastating assault. The destruction of half their fleet, combined with the breach of their secure communications, had left the Conclave shaken. Prime Overseer Thalvorn, once a figure of unquestioned authority, stood at the center of a council now teetering on the edge of collapse. His voice, once steady, trembled with barely concealed frustration. The Terrans have breached everything we built, Vorn said, glaring at the data projections swirling in the air. Their technology, their weapons, even their communications, they've become a galaxy-spanning threat. We cannot allow them to reshape the stars as they please. Delegate Jorthus, his tone cold and measured, responded, we face an unprecedented situation, but we must ask ourselves, what is our alternative? To wage a war of attrition, to spend resources hunting them across the galaxy, or to acknowledge that humanity's resilience is not something we can erase. Jorthus' words carried weight, resonating in the minds of the other delegates. The Conclave had been caught off guard. Their once untouchable dominance was being questioned. Across the galaxy, the rapid rise of humanity's power had sparked not only fear, but also curiosity. Their ships, like the Nova Spearhead, capable of traveling at 0.99 C in under 10 minutes, mocked the limitations of Conclave technology. The quantum encryption system that protected human communications rendered all of the Conclave's previous efforts useless, leaving them unable to cut off the Terrans' increasingly coordinated efforts. At the heart of the Conclave's dilemma was one irrefutable fact. Humanity had surpassed them in ingenuity, adaptability, and raw technological advancement. The Starbreaker, a weapon capable of harnessing 200 terajoules of energy in a single burst, had shattered the Ecliptic Shroud, and now, humanity's fleet was smashing through the Conclave's defenses with relentless precision, outmaneuvering ships built over centuries. The question before the Council was no longer one of if but how. How could the Conclave survive the rise of humanity? How could they regain control over their once unchallenged reign? The vote began. One by one, the delegates cast their ballots, a weighty decision that would determine the fate of humanity and the future of the galaxy. Tension filled the air as the final vote was counted. "It's done," Delegate Mason Holt said, his voice breaking the silence. Humanity is now part of the Conclave. They've earned their seat at the table. For the first time, humanity was officially acknowledged not as a rebellious threat, but as an undeniable power that could no longer be ignored. The vote had changed everything. Zara Vox, watching from her flagship, received the news with a quiet nod. "We're just getting started," she whispered. The rebellion had turned into something more. It was the dawn of a new era. The galaxy had been forever altered. Terra Nova, once isolated behind the Ecliptic Shroud, had emerged victorious. But victory was not enough. Humanity's place among the stars had been secured. But they were not content to simply coexist with the galaxy. They were here to redefine it. Emissary Lyra Castor, one of humanity's brightest minds and now a key representative of the newly formed Terran Empire, stood before the Council of the Conclave, a powerful gathering of the galaxy's most influential leaders. The room was vast, built to accommodate hundreds. But as Lyra's voice reverberated through the chamber, it was clear that this was not just another diplomatic meeting. It was the birth of a new era. "We have not come here to negotiate," Lyra began, her words cutting through the tension in the room. "We have come to extend an invitation to the galaxy and beyond. Humanity has proven that we will not be bound by any barrier. We've shattered the shroud. We've surpassed your expectations. And now, we will chart a path to the stars that no one can follow." Her voice echoed, carrying the weight of humanity's ambition. In her hand, she held a holographic device, the Horizon Call, a sophisticated communications system that transcended current technologies. Unlike traditional comms that relied on linear transmission networks, the Horizon Call was powered by quantum entanglement, capable of transmitting messages across galaxies in near instantaneous time. The Conclave's own most secure channels would be rendered obsolete by the Horizon Call's ability to communicate at speeds approaching that of light, sidestepping the limitations of hyperspace and traditional communication methods. Lyra activated the device. A wave of energy rippled outward, and the network hummed to life. The Horizon Call was not just a technological marvel. It was a symbol of human ingenuity. Every Terran ship, every station, every city now had access to a new kind of connectivity. It was the bridge to the stars, and it would connect humanity not just with the Conclave, but with other galaxies, other civilizations. As the first signals began to reach beyond the borders of the known galaxy, Lyra's message broadcasted. "This is humanity. We shattered our chains, and now we turn our gaze to the unknown. Join us, or stand in our way. The Horizon Call is open." The shockwaves were felt across the galaxy. The Conclave, still reeling from humanity's rise, was left in stunned silence. Lyra's words were not a threat, but a declaration. Humanity was no longer a backwater species on the edge of the galaxy. They were a power in their own right, a power that would no longer be ignored. The Horizon Call wasn't just a message, it was a promise. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had arrived. The stars themselves had shifted as Terra Nova ascended to its rightful place. As the center of the galaxy, the Nova Spearhead now floated in the heart of what was once Conclave space. its hull gleaming with the precision of human engineering. Zara Vox, standing on the bridge of the flagship, looked out at the vast expanse of space that had been dominated by the Conclave for millennia. It was no longer their domain. It was humanity's. The Nova Spearhead's advancements were nothing short of magnificent, capable of reaching 0.99 C in under 10 minutes. The ship's propulsion system was light years ahead of Conclave technology. Its quantum energy shields, powered by a fusion of Valari and Zarathi designs, could withstand 100 megatons of energy before even beginning to fail. Its weapons, railguns capable of firing projectiles at 85 km of light speed, had already decimated the Conclave's fleet, reducing their once feared warships to rubble in seconds. "We've taken control," Zara said, her voice steady. "Now, we shape the future." On Terra Nova, the capital of the new Terran Empire, the skyline shimmered with the glow of human achievement. Cities built from the ground up with quantum energy, their power drawn from the very fabric of space itself, stretched for miles. Hardlight cities, now a reality, rose above the surface. Their structures not just practical but beautiful, gleaming towers that could reshape entire landscapes. Every building, every road, every vehicle was powered by clean, renewable energy harvested from the stars themselves. But it was the technology behind the Horizon Call that marked humanity's most significant triumph. The device, capable of instant communication across galaxies, had effectively obliterated the need for traditional communication methods. No more relying on fragile communication arrays or hyperspace relays. The Horizon Call was a promise to the universe. Humanity was not just a player in the galactic theater. They were the new actors on stage. In the wake of the Horizon Call, emissaries from previously unknown civilizations had begun reaching out to Terra Nova. The galaxy had taken notice. The Conclave, once a power beyond measure, now found themselves negotiating with the very species they had once sought to exile. "We are not your subjects," Lyricaster, now one of Terra Nova's leaders, announced to the galaxy. "We are humanity, and we will shape the stars." The message rang across the stars, clear and unyielding. Terra Nova had not merely returned to the galaxy, they had remade it. Humanity had redefined the very fabric of the cosmos, and the universe now bowed to their will.